Good evening and welcome to your 2060 Perfect League World Series coverage. I'm your host, DRC, and I have the distinct honor and privilege of capping off another great week of Perfect League with you guys here tonight. Tonight, we've got a great matchup and a great show for you guys. We've got the Coretown Comets going up against the Ottawa Hammerheads, a couple of teams that are no stranger to Perfect League, no stranger to high-level play, and I can't wait to see what happens as these two teams match up here tonight. We're going to be doing play-by-play. We're going to be doing some analysis as we go throughout the games tonight. We're going to be looking at the players. We're going to be looking at the teams. And then I've got a new little visualization for you guys to take a peek at tonight as well. And we'll show that off in just a moment. But first things first, we're going to be able to keep track of where we're at in the series in the top right corner of our screen. Once a game is ended, as I remember, which I'm definitely not perfect at doing so, we will put in who has won which game. So we'll be able to track where we're at within the series. At the bottom of your screen, scrolling from right to left there, are all of the wonderful teams that found themselves on the wrong side of the relegation Puma this week. Starting with the Orville Pappenheimers. So all of these teams will be vacating their spots within the Perfect League and leaving those spots for people who have won their Diamond League or are on their way up. Everyone you see on your screen here made the Perfect League playoffs this week, which means all of them get to sign up for another stress-filled week of trying to hang around perfect, trying to crown themselves and earn their Perfect League championship. The Puma has an absolutely insatiable appetite for perfect teams. So let's break down our matchup here tonight. We've got a sim that's going to come in a minute, but that sim is an off day. So no games will be played then, and that's going to give us enough time to really break down our teams and see what's going on tonight. So we'll start with the Coretown Comets. And the first thing we're going to look at here is run scoring and run prevention. So from a run scoring perspective, we've got Coretown coming in at 12th of 20 within the conference, and then run prevention 8th of 20. So we've got kind of middle of the road scoring and prevention there. Defensively, slightly better than middle of the road there. Defensive efficiency just under 0.7, and then slightly negative zone rating. Nothing standing out too significantly there. As we look at home road splits, we've got 556 at home, 481 on the road. So nothing really standing out too significantly there. And it all sums up to be an 84 win team. Now, we've seen 84 win teams come in here and win perfect leagues. I think API's first title was an 84 win team, and he doesn't stand alone with that distinction. So once you get to the perfect league playoffs, it's a brand new season. It's anyone's game, and the Coretown Comets could easily come down as the victor tonight. As we look at their season, the high point was really June, a 20-win month, which 20-win months are very difficult to come by, especially in Perfect League. But from that point forward, they were an underwater team. July 11 and 13, August 13 and 14, and then a really rough ride in September 9 and 15, which may have nearly cost them their spot. Let's see. So Coretown won their division with that 84 and 78. And you see them right here. They won the division by 4 games. So let's take a look at the park that they play in. So we see Coretown strategically decides to go with what's called a righty cheese park, righty favored park. And so what that means is that from an average perspective and a home run perspective, righties are boosted as high as the game allows to a factor of 1.1. And then lefties, conversely, are nerfed all the way down to 0.9. It's a pretty popular stadium design within the Perfect League tower. And then the extra base hits here, oftentimes you see people max these out. Sometimes you see people closer to neutral. And we see Coretown here coming in minning them out to the lowest degree possible at 0.5. So that's the ballpark. Let's take a look at some players and see who sticks out here. So these lineups here are clearly the lineups that were set up for the previous series. For a righty cheese ballpark, this is not what the lineup's going to be looking like, really VR or VL. So we'll have to see what we see within the first game. But as far as some of the decisions that have been made from a player perspective, we've got Belanger at short. So this is our second World Series where we have Mark Belanger on the team that made it. And Mark Belanger here, known in the perfect team universe for his high infield range, highest in the game, higher than Ozzie Smith. So best defender in the game. The statistics you're seeing being generated from an offensive perspective are just about what we've seen from Belanger. A huge drag from the bat and a huge boost from the glove. And for at least the second week in a row, we've seen that boost from the glove be a contributing factor to a team making it all the way. Pitching-wise, we see that Warren Spahn here, only 124 innings. Definitely a lot lower than most people's deployment of Warren Spahn. We also see that it was a mix of starts and relief appearances. So 18 total starts, 34 total games. So interesting player deployment there. As far as the other guys are concerned, you see Pedro, Maddox, Johnson, all carrying the load from an innings pitch perspective, which makes sense given the right cheese park. And a lot of these Walter Johnson innings are in relief. 17 relief appearances and 15 starts. So let's look at the path. How did they get to this point? So it has not been an easy road for the Coretown Comets. You started off by having to go through two-time champion Manchego Cheese, and they were able to do so in 5 games. Next round, they had to take on the Pit Vipers, and it took them 6 to get through there. And then last, and certainly not least, he got the best of Chuck last round, having to go to 7, having to face an elimination game in Game 6 and 7 and coming out on top. And that Game 7 was a 1-0 shutout. So quite the path there. Now, from a historical perspective, I mentioned that Coretown is no stranger to Perfect League. This is his 4th Perfect League season, his 2nd opportunity in the Perfect League playoffs, and then the first World Series appearance for the Comets, looking for their first Perfect League World Series championship. Let's jump over to Ottawa. So we'll do the same pathing. We'll talk run scoring and run prevention. So from a run scoring perspective, we see a much better narrative here. 4th in run scoring, only 3 teams better in the entire NC. And then run prevention, 6th. So you see a bigger run differential here. And as such, it's not a surprise that the Ottawa Hammerheads were able to win 9 more games than the Coretown Comets. Defensively, very similar metrics to Coretown. So neither team elite defensively or neither team really struggling defensively, right in the middle of the road. From a home road split perspective, Ottawa with a very strong 52 home wins this season, good for a .642 win percentage, and then really splitting the difference on the road, 41-40. And you see a couple of really standout months here for the Hammerheads, a 20-win May and a 19-win August. As we look at the ballpark, Hammerheads have a completely neutral ballpark. So 1 factor all the way down, which allows us to jump to the players right away. And we see that the decision has been made to play Pudge versus right. So as we talk about catcher decisions at the highest level, it typically boils down to 3 names. You have Mauer, you have Pudge, you have Campanella. So who's going to play versus right? Who's going to play versus left? And oftentimes you'll see a Mauer platoon with one of the other two, coming in as defensive replacement late in games. And you've seen more and more people playing Pudge versus right and knowing that they're not going to get much value out of the bat but taking the trade-off of him being able to steal some extra strikes with his catcher ability and really do a good job of controlling the running game. And that appears what Tech is doing here. As we look at those catcher plate appearances, you see Pudge with 377 and Campanella at 255. And you see that Pudge is coming in as a defensive substitute for Campanella late in games. We've got Ozzie playing short both ways. So we'll have Belanger on the Comet side and then Ozzie with Ottawa. Then you see Jackie every day. So we haven't seen a Jackie every day in the World Series in some time. Jackie led the team in plate appearances, 672. So somewhat of a throwback there. We've had World Series streams in the past where we had fire Jackie really being a thorn in the opposition side. We'll see if maybe Jackie, for old time's sake, can catch some fire here tonight. From a pitching perspective, we see a traditional deployment here of those pitchers. So kind of a five horseman type ethos here with this alignment of pitchers. You have Pedro, Spawn, Johnson, Siever, and Maddox all traditionally being deployed only as starters and racking up a very high start count. It appears as if Maddox had a quicker hook or maybe a batter faced maximum here, which depressed his innings a little bit as he ended up with 3 more starts than Siever, but 7 less innings pitched. But this was a traditional alignment of starting pitching for the majority of the season, for the entirety of the season, I should say. And then you see in the back end of the bullpen, Mariano Rivera had an incredible season, a 1.64 ERA, led the league with 45 saves, whip right at 1, controlled the homers well, didn't walk a ton. And look at that BABIP. So season BABIP of 246. Not something that you can control or point to as skill, but something that certainly contributed to an outlier dominant season with the back end of the pen, helping preserve those leads for the Hammerheads. As we look at the path, we see the Hammerheads dispatch the Mustangs in 4, got rid of Cartier Cutthroats in 5, and then were able to take down Gotham in 6. So from an elimination game perspective, or really from a turmoil perspective, the Hammerheads have been pretty clean this entire run, never having faced an elimination game as they find themselves here in the World Series. As we look at Tech's history, we see a lot of perfect league statistics here. This is Tech's 13th week in perfect league, his 7th opportunity in the perfect league playoffs, looking for that first perfect league win. So the stage is set. We've got our matchup. We've broken it down as far as who these teams are, who they deploy. Now, who is going to win? Who's going to win and in how many games? Let's see that in the chat. See what you guys think. Who's going to win and in how many games? As we'll have our first sim here in 4 minutes. API's got Marksman in 6. Sismanja's got Tech in 6. You know, we've been on a little bit of a streak of these World Series ending in 5 games. I wonder if we'll see a 6th game. 7 games is what Dogberry's after, because then everybody wins. So as people are deciding which pony they want to pick tonight, let's look in the bottom right corner of our screen for another graphic to break down this matchup for tonight. You see that Ottawa tips the scales on most of the categories that we track in this team matchup analyzer, being favored in team batting average, team on base percentage ever so slightly, a big advantage on team slugging, big advantage on team OPS. Coretown finally grabs a category with play percentage, which is a defensive metric, whereas Ottawa goes ahead and takes many of the pitching categories. But do look at that last pitching category we have down there. It's called percentage or favorable percentage. And what that means is the percentage of plate appearances in a given season where the handedness between the pitcher and the batter is matched. because that is putting your pitcher in the best chance to be successful. So the Coretown Comets were able to accomplish that at a 52% clip, which is high compared to most teams. I believe league average is somewhere between 45 and 48, whereas Ottawa comes in with a lower mark of 42%. So 3 minutes until we have a sim, and that's going to give me a little time here to show off a new toy that I've got. So check this out. What this is here is the top perfect league hitters. So what I've done is I pulled all of the data of all of the hitters. Let me make that a little bigger so you can see it. There we go. And you can see who the top hitters are across Perfect League. And so this is just one view. We see that Rogers Hornsby was the best hitter in Perfect League for this week, eking out a bat runs win over Ty Cobb. We see Roger Connor in third, which is going to surprise some. Roger Connor over Tony Gwynn, over Tris Speaker, over Cap Anson. And the other thing we can do is we can play with splits. So let's say we just want to look at the right-handed hitters. Boom. One click, and we've got that view. Let's say we just want to look at hitters versus right. So right-handed hitters versus right. Maybe we want to reset and look at just catchers. So we can play with this as the night goes. But this is a new toy that I brought to the stream tonight. Thought we could get some usage and utility out of it as we're comparing the choices that people are making and really comparing who's in the batter's box versus who could be in that same spot. So we'll go ahead and reset that. And I'm going to get prepared to pull down this first sim. We are going to start. We're starting in Ottawa, which, as we know, is a neutral ballpark. And the advertised pitching matchup is Spawn versus Spawn, but that could have changed as we did have the rest day in between. This is when I start to feel the flow. I start to feel the hype come in. Right when we're about to get our Game 1 highlights to jump into. Right when we're about to see how this World Series is going to play out. Who's going to be the hero? Who's going to be the MVP? Who's going to take on some fire and really put their stamp on this World Series? What type of strategy will we see from a pitching perspective? How will that be countered with lineups? Sweaty palms time, says Tech 15. Tech's just got to hope that his Hoffman's better than when he bumped into me in the playoffs 10 weeks ago. Crash SF has a son that apparently has been in long sid mode for 30 minutes, trying to steal a title there. Do we have any Diamond champions in the chat yet? I'm guessing that we could have had people sharing it before, but I was too deep into my my pregame routine to see it. But I'm curious what Diamond people we have coming up to replace some of these relegated teams scrolling across the bottom of your screen. We've got the Albany Senators coming up. All right, let's go ahead and put this on BRB. I will show myself when I go BRB so you don't feel lost. And then we're going to pull down this sim. So it's 6:15 local time, should be day number 215. We'll grab that. Moose Jaw Mounties has won their Diamond League. Congratulations to you. Max Fire on his way back to perfect. Well done. Ooh, we've got it. Like a kid on Christmas morning, we get to open up our first game of this World Series. And here it is. And we've got the beautiful Rogers Center backdrop here for the Ottawa Hammerheads. And we're going to get started here with Warren Spahn on the hill for the Hammerheads and facing a lineup that features 8 right-handed batters. So as we get started, let's take a peek at what that means for Warren Spahn. So we see Warren Spahn, the starter, has these numbers here: 4.22 FIP, 1.3 WHIP. So right around league average, which is really tough to do as a starter that gets thrown into situations like this. So when you hear league average starter, you might think that's a not impressive moniker to carry, but it really is. Spahn, one of the best cards in this game. But look at how this breaks down versus left, as you see a ton of good-looking stats here: 3.33 FIP, excellent walk rate, incredible home run suppression. And then you go versus right, and you see the colors shift quite a bit. You see the K rate drop, the home run rate skyrocket, and the FIP jump well over league average. And that's what, depending on how long he's in this game, that's what Tex Spahn is going to have to deal with tonight, as he's got a lineup full of righties. Let's get started here. Cap Anson leading off this game, facing Warren Spahn. The pitch, grounder to short. Picks it, throws it, 1 up and 1 down as Ozzie Smith grabs that one. We go bottom 1, and we see David Price on the hill for the Cortown Comets. He'll face Rogers Hornsby here down on the count 3-1 with 2 away in the first. Line in the pitch. That ball hit well. Deep right field. That one's going to short hop the wall. Hornsby on his way to second. He's not going to stop there, heading to third, and he'll make it. A sliding 2-out triple for Rogers Hornsby has the Hammerheads in business here in the first. That runner does not score, and we go top 4. Spahn still in the game for the Hammerheads. Shutout through 3. He though faces a tough customer now in Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron, and we'll flash up the numbers, the gaudy numbers, on the screen for you. Hank Aaron, one of the most dangerous hitters in this game versus left-hand pitching, with an OPS of 884 and a bat value of 25 per 600 plate appearances. He bats here with 1 away, and Rogers Hornsby at first. The pitch. That ball hit well up the middle. That's going to drop for a base hit. Hornsby holds at second, and the Cortown Comets rally grows a touch. Next up will be Willie Mays. Willie Mays is no Hank Aaron with the bat versus left, but definitely still a force to be reckoned with. You see a ton of green in that bottom right corner on the matchup analyzer. He bats with 2 away and 1 out. Grounder to third, to second 1, to first, double play! And the Hammerheads get out of trouble in the 4th. We go top 7, still scoreless. Comets back at the dish. It's Willie Mays. Don't even need to reset the matchup analyzer. It's already set for us. Infield shifted. Full count, the wind and the pitch. That ball hit well. Deep right center. We're untied. Upper deck Oppo Taco for Mays, making it 1-0 Cortown. The Ottawa crowd, which has been silent all game, stays so, as they now trail 1-0 here and have only had 1 hit offensively on their side. We're still in the 7th, and Spahn trying to get out of some trouble here. He faces a Roy Campanella with a man on second and 2 away. We pop Campanella's stats into the matchup analyzer, and you see he's a slug-heavy profile with the bat. 1-1 count on him. Line in the pitch. Liner to left field. That one's through. Around third is Henderson. He's going to try to score, and he will. Make it 2-0 Comets, as Campanella finds the hole between short and third and drives home Ricky Henderson. Bottom 8 now. Hammerheads looking to get themselves back into this one. They've scattered 2 hits through 7 innings and are looking for something a little bit more than that. They're going to have to do so against Pedro Martinez, face of the franchise. So we'll go ahead and lock in Pedro as a reliever, and we'll contextualize that against Tony Gwynn versus right-hand pitching. 3-2 count on Gwynn, leading off the 8th. The pitch. He walked him. Hammerhead faithful starting to get a little jazzed up here. Every base runner in the playoffs is its own rally. And next up is Campanella. Campanella, we showed you his stats versus left-hand pitching, which were certainly notable from a slugging perspective. Now, versus right is a different story. Significantly negative bat value, very low OPS. Line in the pitch. Grounder to short, to second one, to first, double play. Campanella's slow wheels equate to a twin killing there, erasing that leadoff walk by Gwynn. We go bottom 9 now. Pedro still in, trying to slam the door on this one. And he'll start with Ricky Henderson. 0-1 count on him. You want to keep Ricky off the bases if you're Cortown. The pitch. Little dinker. Fielded by Pedro. To first. Not in time! Ricky Henderson's wheels come into play there with an infield hit. A little excuse me swing put the ball out in front of the plate. Too far for the catcher to get there. Pedro fields it himself, throws to first, but not in time. Hammerhead's back in business, and they've got exactly the man they want at the plate now in Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb versus right logged an OPS of 870 over the past 3 seasons in Perfect League. Not a double play candidate, and you've got a ton of speed on the bases here. Hammerhead faithful hoping that they can scratch across at least a couple runs here in the 9th. First a pickoff throw, and Henderson back. 2-1 count on Cobb. The pitch. Grounded to first, to second one. Not able to complete the double play at first. They do get the lead runner and erase Henderson from the base paths, which is going to bring up Rogers Hornsby. Hornsby, as we showed you, the very best hitter in the game in Perfect League this week. However, when you isolate just his versus right profile, the OPS comes down to 774, and the bat value is slightly above league average. 2-2 count on him. First, a pickoff throw, check on Cobb. Runner back. Line in the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Pedro with a clutch strikeout of a very dangerous hitter in Hornsby, which is going to put this game all up to Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron, we showed you earlier, an absolute nightmare for left-hand pitching. Not nearly the same case for right-hand pitching. As you see, the average and the OBP drop significantly. Still able to run into one every now and then from a slugging perspective, and that's exactly what the Hammerheads would like to see here. 1-0 count on Hank Aaron. Cortown an out away from stealing game 1 and home field advantage. Mariano Rivera into the game to finish this one off. 1-0 pitch to Aaron. Line in the pitch, up the middle, fielded at second base, and that's it. That's going to do it. He goes to second for the easy play. They're able to get the lead runner and end the game there. Cortown wins game 1. Let's look at the box scores. We've got a couple minutes here before game 2. A very well-pitched game by both sides. We see Cortown rocking a pseudo start here with a 3-batter face Price. He was able to get the lineup that he wanted. As you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right-handed batters that Pedro Martinez was able to pitch 8 innings into, giving up only 2 hits and 2 walks. On the other side of town, you see Ottawa with Warren Spahn with an absolutely masterful performance, pitching into a lineup of 8 right-handed batters, able to throw a complete game, only give up 1 earned run. Now, I recall in the inning that the 2 runs scored, so the 7th inning, I remember Ricky Henderson ending up on second and us not knowing how. It appears as if that occurred through a Tony Gwynn error. So Tony Gwynn, playing right field, makes an error which allows a base runner to get on and score. The game ended 2-0, so didn't end up being the difference in the game or anything like that. But we see Spahn with a 9 innings masterful performance, only giving up 1 earned and finding himself on the losing end. So we have game 1 in the books. Let's look at game 2. What do we expect to see? So Coretown has stolen home field advantage. They've been able to win one in the neutral stadium that is the Ottawa Hammerheads home park. And now they're looking to really run it up and grab game 2. They'll ask Greg Maddox to do so. And they'll be facing the Hammerheads' Pedro Martinez in just a couple minutes' time. So let's see which Maddox this is. This is your face of the franchise, Maddox. We'll go ahead and take a look at what that means. So here's Greg Maddox, the starter. Greg Maddox, face of the franchise. FIP just over league average, whip right at it. Not striking out a ton of people, but that's kind of Maddox's shtick. From a walk perspective, elite walk avoidance. Does a good job of limiting the home runs as well. As we compare this Maddox to the legend one, pay attention, because if you're not paying attention, you might miss it. There's the toggle. So in our 3-year sample, we actually have Greg Maddox legend with a better FIP. So 416 for face of the franchise, 406 for the 100 legend one. And the 100 legend actually doing a better job of home run avoidance as well. So let's go ahead and update the Game 1 winner. Thank you, King Butcher 19, for the reminder. So Game 1 goes to the Comets. And we prepare for Game 2. All right, let's go ahead and blind this out and try to load it up. What's going to happen in Game 2? Do we have the Comets going up 2-0? Or do we see the Hammerheads strike back and even this series up? Now that we're watching these games being played with the Rogers Center backdrop, Tech, tell me in the chat, you've been here before, haven't you? Shame on me for not remembering it. But I know that we've done it. We've had Perfect League World Series games with the Rogers Center backdrop in the past. And it was not that long ago, I want to say within the past month. All right, haven't been able to load it up yet. Should come in here any second for me. I know TJ is in the chat saying that we've got the sim in. Tech 15, third trip to the Perfect League World Series. That in and of itself is quite the achievement. All right, beautiful. We've got game two. We've got game two, guys. Let's get cooking here. All right, we've got very different lineups for both teams. We've got the Comets now rocking 7 left-handed batters, and then over on the other side, we've got the Hammerheads going with an alternator. A left-right, 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 left-right switch lineup. Both teams deviating heavily from game one. That has a lot to do with who's on the mound for each team, I would wager a guess. Well, we know that Pedro Martinez is pitching for the Hammerheads, and he'll get started here in game two with Ty Cobb. He's got him down in the hole 0-2 as we start game two. Strike 3 called. Pedro starts off game two in style, giving Tech a little shot in the arm. Started the game off with a strikeout as the Hammerheads go around the horn. Top 2 now. Another highlight for the Comets. And it's going to be Pop Lloyd coming up to bat against Pedro. Now, I am addicted to checking out Pop Lloyd at bats whenever they show up in the highlight engine. I just love it because he's such a terrible hitter, and when he does things, it's notable. So let's look at our matchup here. At least he's facing a righty, which is definitely his best side. You see his triple slash in the bottom right, a 264, 311, 354 hitter versus right-hand pitching, but he's against a tough customer here in Pedro Martinez, who is absolutely the best right-handed pitcher at facing lefty batters. Pop Lloyd bats with Maurer on first and 1 away. 2-0 count the pitch. Line drive, base hit down to the corner. Maurer heading to third. Lloyd on his way to second. The throw, not in time. Maurer will stop at third, and Lloyd has amped up this rally here in the second for the Comets. Next up, Mark Belanger. Has to be the worst hitter in Perfect League. Let's see just how gruesome the numbers are. Mark Belanger versus right. Pedro Martinez versus right. This is just about the worst matchup you can find if you're a Coretown Comet fan here, as Belanger not good at hitting the ball, hitting them where they ain't, making contact, slugging, getting on base, but he doesn't need to do much here. A regular old ground ball to the shortstop likely brings home a run as the infield is playing back. 1-0 count on Belanger, 1 away the pitch. Little looper, right center, hit deep enough. That ball's caught, and the throw home, not going to be anywhere near in time, and we've got the Comets on the board. So Mark Belanger, a productive out here in the second, and brings home a run. As a Comet fan, you have to be extremely happy facing Pedro Martinez and manufacturing a run out of Maurer, Pop Lloyd, and Belanger here in game two. We go top 3, and we've got the Comets back at the highlight machine. And we're starting with Tony Gwynn with 1 away. The pitch, that ball hit well left field. Gone. Tony Gwynn showing off some opposite field power as he goes 385 feet to straightaway left field. Pedro Martinez slightly vulnerable from a movement perspective on his back of card ratings, and it shows here as the Comets stretch their lead to 2. Still top 3, and the Comets threatening to do more. They've got Joe Maurer at the plate. Maurer was already at the center of the last rally that put a run on the board in the second, and he'll look to be the deciding blow here in the third. We see Maurer versus right-hand pitching, and Pedro versus left. Maurer absolutely the best catcher bat in the game versus right-hand pitching with a 738 strong 738 OPS. 2-1 count, 2 on, 2 away. The pitch. Hit up the middle, base hit! Past a diving Ozzie Smith. 1 run will score. Make it 3-0 Comets. Ozzie Smith was fading. He was playing and shifting up the middle, but still unable to dive and make that play. And that means another run for the Comets. Bottom 3, we've got the Comets with Warren Spahn in the game. Now, I don't know that Warren Spahn started this game. We'll have to see when we get to the box score, but he's in there now, and he's got 4 same-side hitters in that lineup as he's trying to work through it. We'll look at Warren Spahn versus left, and then we'll look at Ty Cobb versus left as well in this big moment here. And we're just in the 3rd inning. It's just a 3-0 game. But you're the Hammerheads. You're down 1-0 in the series, and you're down 3-0 early in game 2. You'd love to claw one back here. Full count. The pitch. Fly ball right field and down. Ty Cobb comes through with a 2-out RBI single to right, bringing home Ivan Rodriguez and putting the Hammerheads on the board for the first time in this series. Ottawa with an even better scoring chance here in the 6th, and they've got the right guy at the plate. As we told you at the outset, Rogers Hornsby is the best hitter in perfect league for the calendar year of 2060, just edging out Ty Cobb. And the way that he gets to those numbers is very heavily weighted towards what he does versus left-hand pitching, and that's the matchup that we see here now. Hornsby with a greater than 900 OPS in situations like these, and he bats with 2 aboard and 1 away. Line in the pitch, little looper, played. Rogers Hornsby of the Comets goes out and grabs the ball off the bat of Rogers Hornsby of the Hammerheads, which for the moment gets Spahn out of a sticky situation and brings up Roger Connor. This is going to put Spahn in a same-sided matchup here. Good for him. And Roger Connor, not quite the same hitter when he goes up against left-hand pitching. 2-0 count, though. The pitch. Little looper to center. Coming in is Griffey. He'll make the grab. And the Comets escape further damage here in the 6th. Bottom 8. Spahn still in the game for the Comets. So we saw his Pedro go very, very deep in game 1 in relief. And now we've got Spahn pitching deep here in the 8th. He's going to face Tony Gwynn with 2 away. Line in the pitch. Little looper left field and down. Tony Gwynn with a 2-out single to elongate this 8th inning and bring up Rogers Hornsby. It appears as if Hornsby was retired, and now we go bottom 9. Comets trying to nail down this Game 2 victory and establish that 2-0 series lead. They're going to be doing so with Mariano Rivera. We'll put Mariano Rivera in your matchup analyzer, and we'll contextualize him against Roger Connor, who, for people that were paying attention, and I'll even flash it right here. As we look at this season, Roger Connor was the 3rd best hitter in Perfect League. Number 3 overall. Somewhat of a surprise there. We see the matchups in the bottom right matchup analyzer now, and let's get this 9th inning underway. It's going to be Connor, Mays, and then Griffey. Fly ball left field and deep, but caught. Struck well off the bat of Roger Connor, but not well enough as Ricky Henderson goes back and makes the grab. We've now got 2 out, and this game is down to Ken Griffey Jr. Griffey, not known for his on-base prowess, which is what the Hammerheads need most right now. They need someone aboard. 2-2 count on him. Line in the pitch. Grounder to second. Picks it, throws it, and that's going to do it. The Coretown Comets come into Ottawa, steal Game 1 via 2-0 shutout, and then take Game 2 3-1. Not a great feeling for the Hammerheads to play 2 games at home, scratch across 1 run, and find yourself needing to win 4 of the next 5, with 3 of those games going to be on the road in a cheese park. Let's look at the box score. Ottawa. So Ottawa got a quality start out of Pedro Martinez, 6 innings, gave up 8 hits, struck out 10, but 3 runs came across, including that opposite field home run from Tony Gwynn. After he exits the game, we had Steve Carlton and Hoffman take turns throwing perfect innings from the 7th to the 9th. On the other side, we see our second pseudo start of the World Series as Trevor Hoffman starts the game, goes 4 batters, and then turns it over to Spawn. And Spawn came in and dominated. Spawn goes 6 2/3 innings in relief, yielding 5 hits, only 1 earned run, striking out 6. And then Mariano Rivera came on to ice it in the 9th. So we've seen Coretown deploy the same strategy in Game 1 and Game 2. In Game 1, it was David Price leading to Pedro Martinez, opening up that heavy right-handed lineup. In Game 2, it was Hoffman leading to Spawn, having 4 same-side batters of the 9 batters. So not quite as effective, but the outcome was the same, as Spawn had a dominant outing. As we look to Game 3, current scheduled starters are Siever and Glavin. We're going to have an off day in between. So let's see what kind of questions we have in the chat. Yordle named Leo asking, does that list factor in the number of plate appearances each card had? Yes, it does. So the middle column here is total plate appearances across all teams in Perfect League for this calendar season. So 2060 alone. Jack in his prime likes his call of marksman in 5 games. Big Red 75 wants to see the dimensions of Cheese Field. So let's head to Coretown and check out these dimensions. So you have the right-handed batter, home run and average jacked as high as it can go, 1.1. The average for lefties and homers for lefties, min as low as it can go, 0.9. And then doubles and triples completely nerfed down to 0.5. And that's the stadium with which we're going to be playing the next 3 games. So right-handed batters significantly favored over lefties. As we look at right-handed batters, I can go ahead and skew this top Perfect League hitters to just righties. You see that this week in Perfect League was headlined with Rogers Hornsby as the best right-handed batter, with Hank Aaron right behind him at 11 on the bat value. Joe DiMaggio trailing with 8.98. Definitely not played as much as he used to be. Joe DiMaggio was a PEL stalwart for, I want to say, the first 5 or 6 weeks after he dropped as a reward for Face of the Franchise. After him, you have Willie Mays, still very heavily used. You see 20,000 plus plate appearances for Willie Mays this week. And then Cap Anson right behind him. So Cap Anson most often deployed as a player in a righty cheese type build, which you have the Coretown Comets deploying here in this World Series. After him, you have DJ LeMahieu. Not a card that's used a ton, but a card that's definitely pretty interesting. If I slide over here to see how that breaks down for LeMahieu, you see he's the highest batting average of any player on this chart. 298, 334, 431, the way that he gets to his bat value here of 2.9. Not a sample size that I would treat as gospel here, but 911 plate appearances is not nothing as well. After him, you have K-Line, Jackie Robinson. Jackie, we remarked at how he was an everyday player in this series for the Ottawa Hammerheads, and that not necessarily being something that is seen as frequently anymore. You see his plate appearances down to 17,000 this season. Thanks for the reminder, Lipitor. As we update our score bug here. Speaking of score bugs, someone tell me if the Bears were able to come back and beat the Packers. I was closely following that game before we went live. I'm guessing the answer is no. So Ariba21 asking what the max for doubles and triples is. It is 1.5. So doubles and triples, you're allowed to play within 0.5 to 1.5. So as you see on my screen here, 0.5 is the lowest that you can do, and 1.5 is the max. Bears lost, but in the playoffs. We'll take it. We will take it. And I guess the good news is they won't have to face the Packers in round 1. All right, we'll go ahead and load up this next sim and then look at pitcher fatigue as we prepare for game 3. So let me go with our BRB screen. All right, beautiful. We are back in action here. Sim is loaded up. So let's go ahead and look at each team's pitcher rest. We'll start with the Coretown Comets. You know, this is a very small quantity of pitchers being deployed here by marksmen. What do we have here? 9 total arms. I don't know that I've seen that few used that frequently, if ever. So either my game is rendering an incorrect number of pitchers here, or marksman is rolling out 9 arms for this World Series. But as we look at game 3, we've got Tom Glavine as our scheduled starter. And then in addition to Glavine, we've got Bieber, Carlton, Sale, all at 100% rest, with Price, Rivera, and Hoffman near 100%. So any of these 4 could be started. You could have Bieber pseudo into any one of these lefties. You could have any one of these lefties pseudo into Bieber. So that's definitely something that's on the table. As we look at Ottawa, we see a familiar picture here. Way more arms on this team. Looks like at least 2 more additional arms. And we're advertising Walter Johnson as our scheduled starter. In addition to him, we've got a whole host of 100% rested arms. From the left side of the mound, you've got Price and Sale. And then a number of righties. Steve Carlton really being the only arm that is not at play for this game in relief. Lipitor Kid asking if there's been a roster change between games. That is not something that is permissible to my knowledge. So I don't think that once the series had started, there are any roster moves capable of being done. But I'm open to being wrong on that if someone can share with me how that could be done. All right, let's continue exploring our top perfect league hitters. So one thing that people are in constant pursuit of is finding hitters that can play the skill positions in the infield, meaning second base, shortstop, or third base, and deliver bat value. So let's look at just those guys here. So these are people with position listed as second, short, or third base. And you see that only Hornsby and Anson come in with positive bat value. This Wade Boggs sample, I'd argue, is likely an unusual sample here to have him at negative bat value. He's normally positive bat value. You've got Jackie Robinson here right around 0 as well. And then the big glove guys, and by big glove guys, I mean big range, guys that you could actually argue that you could put them at shortstop. You've got Banks here at -9, Cal Ripken at -9, Huey at -9, Appling -9, Brooks Robinson, who's a new card. Some people are finding some success with that. I think Jesse Roach in his Righty Cheese Park found some good success with Brooks Robinson this week. And then Robin Yount down at -25. And then your super duper glove guys like Ozzie Smith, Pop, Rabbit, Belanger, you see that their bat values are pretty hideous. So it's tough out there finding good production in the middle of your diamond. And I was hoping that we'd see better numbers than this from Brooks. Let's see how this breaks down from a triple slash. So Brooks at 244, 289, 396 on his triple slash, which equates to that negative 14 bat value. Let's go ahead and isolate this versus left. I'd be curious what that changes. And as we do so, you see Ernie Banks float up a bit as his versus left profile is pretty strong. Hornsby obviously goes to the moon as he's an absolute masher versus left. Jackie comes up above water, as does Cal Ripken. And Brooks, Brooks -9. I'm disappointed to see that number. I was hoping for better out of that backup card. Let's see what the triple slash is here. So triple slash for Brooks, 253, 300, 409. So definitely a little disappointing there for me. And you see Wade Boggs here. So Wade Boggs versus left coming in similarly as Brooks Robinson versus left. And look at Pop Lloyd down at -62. So again, it's just hard to find that production. I know that Quanta Condor is a big fan of Cal Ripken for what he can do versus left, and the numbers here would support that assertion because he's going to give you pretty good defense. Likely less defense than Ozzie or even the new Brooks card, Pop Lloyd, Rabbit, but pretty strong defense, well above a lot of other guys, including Jackie, and he's going to be right at a league average bat value versus left, driven by a pretty strong OBP. Dogberry asking where Huey went, and I think the answer to that is that he's not meeting the threshold. So once I slice it down to either VL or VR, he doesn't have the 500 plate appearances needed to show up on that view. Belanger's out there trying his best, says a Yordle. I should ease up on him. Let's take a look at outfielders as we're waiting for our sim. We're 5 minutes away here. So here's our complete list of outfielders. You have Cobb, Aaron, Gwynn, all with bat values over 10. Very impressive marks. DiMaggio not too far behind at 9. Only 2,100 plate appearances on him. I'm guessing that most of his home plate appearances would be in Righty Cheese Parks. And then Speaker Mays right after that. Richie Ashburn coming in as the cellar dweller of the list, down below 20. So the further you go down this list, the more you expect to see elite gloves, and that's really why this Ted Williams card doesn't have much of a place. It's not delivering bat value, and it's not a glove, so it doesn't really have a home. Ariba 21 asking where Appling fits. So here's where Appling fits on this. You see a -9 bat value. He's going to deliver slightly worse defense than Brooks Robinson and Robin Yount. So that's kind of an editorial call on your part, whether you want a little bit more bat or a little bit more glove. Appling, what makes him unique is that he's a reverse splits hitter. He actually delivers a decent on-base percentage versus right-handed pitching, which he's the only guy you can say that about that can play middle infield defense well. So if I isolate this list as middle infielders versus right, you see where Luke Appling's value comes in here. So the list is headlined by guys who don't belong in the middle infield, Anson, Hornsby, and Boggs. And then the first guy that shows up after that is Appling, who is delivering more bat value versus right than Jackie Robinson, but is going to play a ton better defense. And so that's really what makes him unique, is he can be out there versus right and deliver significantly better production than Cal Ripken, Brooks Robinson, Ernie Banks, Pop Lloyd. I mean, Pop Lloyd is people's go-to because he's a left-handed batter. Well, he doesn't hit. He doesn't hit versus righty. He doesn't hit versus lefty. Whereas Luke Appling is here doing that. Luke Appling versus Wright in this sample, which this observed stat performance here is higher than I would expect it to be. This 332 on base percentage, I'd expect to be closer to 320, but we'll take it for what it is. 1,500 plate appearances here for Appling with a 271, 332, 375 triple slash line. Definitely very notable. Two minutes from our Game 3 sim. Pop Lloyd forever, says RDT24. And I'll go ahead and clear out our filters, so we'll just have our PEL leaderboard showing up there for you guys to take in as we wait on our next sim. I'll prepare my file download. Dogberry asking if we're differentiating hitting and slugging with regards to Pop. I mean, we can look at it any way you want to, but Pop Lloyd is delivering this. Overall, he's at 240, 283, 317, so definitely not slugging. An absolute zero with regards to extra base hits or any semblance of power, but he's also only hitting 240. So it's not like he's delivering an empty 300 batting average. He's delivering a poor batting average, a poor on-base percentage, and a poor slugging percentage. But he's giving you a great glove for it. Pop Lloyd with 108 range, which is significantly better than Ripken's 100. Ernie Banks 100. Huey, I think, is at 99. Appling at 102. So I have a way that I've coded in usage type. It's not to be taken as 100% accurate, but we can play with it anyway. And so I'll play with that now. So this is everyday players. If we just isolate to players that were played every single day, and I think my cutoff there is 130 games started. So if you start 130 games total or more, I call you an everyday player. And here are the bat values of those that are deployed every day. And then here are your platoon bat values. So people just started less than 130 games, but more than just a handful, so we know it's not a card that someone just picked up at the end of a season. And you see Joe DiMaggio, at least in this sample, is our most productive platoon bat with 630 platoon plate appearances and a bat value of 16, with Hank Aaron being second there. Ariba asking about middle infielders' fielding percentage. So I don't have a graphic prepared for that, even though that is one thing that I'm working on and I expect to have in a future stream. It's just a breakdown of play percent by position. So just looking at raw fielding percent is not something that I'd recommend, because doing so would tell you that Luke Appling is a bad glove. Doing so would tell you that low range, high error avoidance guys are great gloves, when what you really need to be looking at are the potential plays and what percentage of those potential plays these players are making. And so look for that on a future stream. All right, we'll go ahead and black out the screen, load up the next sim, and then get to game 3. Joe D versus Ricky is such a tough choice in the playoffs. Yeah, you love having a weapon like Ricky, both from a glove perspective as well as from a pinch running perspective. Just so many ways he can help you win a game. Sim is in. We've got our first game here in Coretown Park. Let's get underway. We'll go ahead and jump over to our matchup analyzer, as we have got the Coretown Comets starting with Tom Glavine. Now, we've seen the Comets in both Game 1 and Game 2 start for a very brief period of time with one pitcher, and then go for a long duration with a reliever shortly after the game starts. We'll see if that happens tonight with Glavine. Glavine is pitching into a lineup that has two same-side hitters, and by that I mean two lefties, Cobb and Gwynn. We'll start off with Cobb here tonight. The temperature for tonight's game is 987 degrees. And the pitch. Tries to bunt and misses it. So that was a highlight for strike one of this game. As Cobb attempted a bunt unsuccessfully, and now we move to the bottom of the second. We've got Walter Johnson of the Hammerheads on the hill, and he's facing Joe Mauer with 2 away. 1 in the pitch. That ball belted deep right center. Forget about it. Mauer goes to the power alley in right center field, putting the Comets on the board. Hammerheads getting some familiar feelings as they fell down early in both games 1 and 2 and unable to come back. They're now working down 1-0 here and still in trouble here in the third. Hornsby comes to the plate. Now remember that this is a righty cheese park, meaning right-handed batters have better batting average and better power. And Rogers Hornsby is absolutely a right-handed batter, and he'll bat here. We'll go ahead and load up our matchup analyzer, as we've got Walter Johnson versus right and Hornsby versus right. Advantage slightly to the pitcher here with an 0-2 count and 1 away. The pitch up the middle, base hit. Heading to third and rounding is Cobb. He's going to try to score, and he will without a throw. Make it 2-0 Coretown Comets. Early in game 3, we go top 5 now. And Maddox on the hill for the Coretown Comets. And the Hammerheads looking to make their presence felt in this game. We've got face of the franchise, Greg Maddox, on the hill. There's Maddox, face of the franchise. We'll load him up against Ty Cobb. Advantage heavily to the batter here. 0-2 count. The pitch. Little looper, right field and down. Heading to third is Campanella. He'll stop there. Strong throw by Tony Gwynn, not in time. 2 on, 2 out now for Jackie Robinson in a clutch moment here for the Hammerheads. We'll load up your matchup analyzer. Jackie Robinson right around a league average bat versus right-hand pitching. And the Hammerheads need him to come through here. The pitch. That ball lined into left center. Caught. Tris Speaker slides over, makes the grab, and ends the rally for the Hammerheads in the 5th. We go bottom 6. This highlight is for the Comets. And it's Walter Johnson versus Rogers Hornsby. 2-1 count. 1 and the pitch hit well. Deep right center. Will it go? It will. Rogers Hornsby. 435 happy feet for the Coretown Comets as they stretch their lead from 2 to 3. Up comes Willie Mays. 2-0 count on him here in the 6th. The pitch. That ball's hit well as well. Deep to right center. That ball will go. Willie Mays playing long ball, his 4th home run in the postseason. This one travels about 400 feet, giving the Comets now a commanding 4-0 lead. Bottom 6 and another highlight for the Comets. And this one's going to be courtesy of Joe Mauer. We've already seen Mauer go to the power alley. Will he do it again? 1-1 count. That ball crushed. Deep left center. Gone. Mauer, 442 feet. 2nd home run of the game. And the Comets playing long ball. 4th of the game now. We go top 7. Despite the fact that the Comets have been playing home run derby all afternoon, it's only a 4-run deficit as they've all been solo shots. Jackie Robinson at the plate. He had an opportunity earlier in the game and did not come through, but he's got Ty Cobb sitting out in scoring position, and his team is staring at a 4-run deficit here late in Game 3. The pitch. Looper, center field, base hit. Cobb around third. He's going to try to score. Here comes the throw. Not in time. Second run comes across the plate for the Hammerheads, and they pull this one within 3. We go top 9 now. Coretown Comets, and out away from putting the finishing touch on this one. The Hammerheads' last hope is Ozzie Smith. Definitely not someone that you want at the plate when the game is on the line. We'll load up our matchup analyzer here as we've got Shane Bieber facing a left-handed Ozzie Smith. The wind and the pitch. Little looper to third. Long throw in time. And the Comets take a commanding 3-0 lead in the series and unleash an interpretive dance routine in front of home plate, sure to strike fear into the spines of the Ottawa Hammerheads. (3-0) now. Let's look at the box score after I update our score bug. I don't know that I've ever called a sweep before, and I don't know if we're going to start tonight. But we're in play. We're 6 minutes away from a sim, and one that puts us into long sim territory. Okay, let's look at Coretown first. For the third time in this series, we see they deploy a pseudo starter. Glavin goes 3 batters. We trigger the versus left lineup, which is going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right-handed bats in play. And then he turns around and puts in Greg Maddox, face of the franchise, who runs 5 2/3, only giving up 2 earned runs. So third game in a row, we've seen the same formula, and that formula has been successful for Coretown as the followers in all 3 games. Game 1 was Pedro. Game 2 was Spawn. Game 3, face of the franchise, Maddox. All 3 games, the pitcher had an excellent outing. After Maddox departs the game in the 7th, Bieber comes on for 7 outs, a perfect ball, yielding up no hits, no runs, and striking out 2. For Ottawa, Walter Johnson didn't have his best stuff. Gives up 4 home runs, 5 earned runs, 10 base runners through 5 2/3, and only striking out 3. Not the best performance you're going to get out of Walter Johnson. He gave it up to Greg Maddox, who was able to get 4 outs without giving up any runs, who turned over to Feller, who finished off the game. Rich Jiminy asking how you control who the followers are. There's a number of different ways you can try to do it. In the playoffs, the efficacy rate and the predictability does go down. It has been theorized by some that has to do with the fact that the leverage index is different than it is during the regular season when we enter the playoffs. But you can sometimes see the intended follower not be deployed as you want. And there's various schools of thought about the best way to do that, whether it's designating the one that you want as long relief, designating all your guys as middle relief, and then having a secondary role of long relief. There's a number of ways you can do it. Let's take a look at Coretown's team and see what we think we see. Okay. So I'm not quite sure how to make tails or heads of this, but Maddox was the one who came in. He's currently set in the rotation here. And we had Glavin actually start the game and go 3 batters. So I'm a little bit at a loss for how the mechanics of that work, because I've never had someone in my starting rotation be my follower unless I was using the opener follower mechanic, which if they were using the opener follower mechanic, then it wouldn't have triggered the versus left lineup. Yeah, TJ, I know he's doing last-minute changes, but whatever changes he put in should show up for me now because the sim is in. So if Maddox was put into a specialist long relief role, we'd see that now. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how it's coming together, but it's coming together. We had Glavine start the game, Maddox follow, and we triggered the VL lineup. No, we didn't. So here's the VR lineup. This starts to make sense of it some. So the VR lineup that Tech had here was the lineup that we saw. And so Maddox was set to follower. And this is the lineup that we got. So this lineup looks like a VL lineup, which is what was confusing me before. But we can see that that's not his VL lineup. And so that was actually an opener follower mechanic with a batter face max on Glavine of 3, handing it over to Maddox, face of the franchise, as the follower, and him running 5 2/3. All right, 1 minute to the sim. One minute to the sim. What do we have on deck here? We've got Coretown not listing a starter, and we've got Ottawa listing Tom Siever. As Ottawa looks to claw their way back into this one, they need to rattle off 4 straight wins versus the Comets. As we look at who Coretown might throw here, they're not listing a starter. They've got available Carlton, Johnson, Price, and Sale. And so given that we've seen 3 games of the strategy of the opener follower, we'll likely see some mix of that here in Game 4. We know that Walter Johnson gets a very significant stuff boost when the game recognizes him as a reliever. And so it could be an effort to achieve that outcome. And we'll show you why here. So Walter Johnson, face of the franchise, let's look at him as a starter. So look in the bottom right of your screen here. You see as a starter, he's right around league average on most of those metrics. But once you turn him into a reliever, all of a sudden you see a ton of green. And there's 2 things at play there. There's 2 reasons why that's happening. One is the huge stuff boost that he's getting. So stuff boost is going to equate to a much higher strikeout rate. It's going to better combat balls in play risk because there will be less balls in play. And then the other thing happening is as Walter Johnson's a reliever, he's going to face way more same-side hitters. All right, let's see if the Game 4 sim is ready for us. So what do we have? 7:15 local time, which puts us at day 219. We'll go on BRB. Central Time, best time, says oof. And I couldn't agree more. I did live on the East Coast for a good bit of my life, and everything's just on too late. All right, we've got a Game 4 sim in. All right, we've got Steve Carlton on the hill for the Comets. We had thought that we could have a situation where we would have Carlton leading to Walter Johnson. And we know from just looking at Tech's lineup screens what the VL and VR lineups look like. The screen looks like a VL lineup right now, as his VL lineup had 1 left-handed batter in it. and we see the one left-handed batter here. So we'll see if we go Carlton to Walter Johnson here as we theorized. But first we start the game with Ricky Henderson. 1-0 count on Ricky. The wind and the pitch. Little looper right field. That's going to be playable. Gwynn puts the squeeze on it, and we've got 1 up, 1 down. Carlton now facing Hornsby, and an opportunity for the Hammerheads to do something they haven't done yet. Lead in this series. 3-2 count on Carlton. Jackie on second. The pitch. Looper up the middle, base hit. Jackie on his way to third. He's going to try to score. Safe. And the Hammerheads take their first lead of the series in the first inning of Game 4. Walter Johnson into the game. And we see that it is not a stuff-boosted Walter Johnson. His stuff is at 136, which is his starter stuff. Which means that we will not see Walter Johnson the reliever. We will see Walter Johnson the starter in terms of expected performance. And we see him facing Tony Gwynn here. With 2 outs here in the first. An absolutely valuable opportunity here for the Hammerheads to try to grab Game 4 early. 3-1 count the pitch. He walked him. Gwynn on his way to first, loading him up here in the first. Cap Anson comes up next. Cap Anson versus Wright, one of the few same-side hitters that produces excess bat value in Perfect Team. And he's got an absolutely glorious opportunity here in Game 4 to get the Hammerheads off on the right foot. The pitch. Line up the middle. Diving grab. Willie Mays comes in and saves a couple of runs, leaving the bases loaded. Dagger to the heart of the Hammerheads as they thought they could have picked up an early 3-run lead here in Game 4. They do get to carry a 1-run lead to the bottom of the second as we go, and we see the Hammerheads' Tom Siever facing Jackie Robinson. We have not seen a Tom Siever yet in this series, so we'll go ahead and pull him up for you guys to take in. Here's Tom Siever for you. I've got the wrong Jackie. Let me get off of the Negro League Jackie to the Special Edition Jackie. 2 on, nobody out. Speaker and Mays, the base runners. Siever in a tight spot here, the pitch. Little looper to first, fielded. Throws to the pitcher, covering, not in time. Jackie Robinson taking advantage of his speed, gets an infield hit, and now they're loaded. And Siever's in a world of trouble as we see Joe Mauer come to the plate. This isn't any old Mauer, but the same Mauer that hit 2 home runs in Game 3. I'm shocked he doesn't have a fire icon next to him, as he's likely in the inner circle of those vying for World Series MVP if the Coretown Comets are able to win this game. Full count. Infield shifted. The pitch. Looper to left. In comes Henderson, makes the catch. Throw home! Not in time! Coretown Comets tie it as Speaker able to beat the throw of Ricky Henderson. And now we've got two on and 1 away for Mark Belanger. Full count on him, the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Next up, Ty Cobb. Dangerous moment in this game here. Best hitter in the game versus Tom Siever, who is vulnerable versus left-handed batters. 2 on, 2 out. The pitch. Grounder to Siever. Fields it to first. Not in time. Cobb able to beat it out. Our second infield hit of the inning. That brings up Cap Anson. A very frustrating inning for the Hammerheads as they've seen 2 infield hits come against them and now have to face a bases-loaded jam with 2 away, and Anson, who's worked a 3-1 count. The pitch. Little grounder to short. Diving stop to second makes the play. Ottawa Hammerheads able to get out of the jam, saving a couple runs by keeping that ball in the infield and ending it there. Top three now. Walter Johnson still on the hill for the Comets, facing Willie Mays with Hank Aaron on first and one away. Up the middle, base hit. Aaron will stop at second. 2 on and 2 out as fire. Willie Mays gets a single. Next up, Tony Gwynn. 0-1 count on him. We'll load him up into the matchup analyzer as we try to expect what's going to happen here. Walter Johnson versus left, Tony Gwynn versus right. Advantage to Gwynn. 2 on, 1 away. Line in the pitch. Little looper out to left center and down. Aaron around third. He's going to try to score and will do so without a throw. He gets in the head first slide for style points, and we award them. Make it 2-1 Hammerheads, and we're still in the fifth now as Anson faces Walter Johnson, looking to extend this lead. The pitch. Lines it, base hit, left field. Anson, RBI single, stretches the lead to 2 for the Hammerheads. Next batter up, as the Hammerheads look to keep the chain rolling here, is Roy Campanella. Campanella, not someone who can hit right-handed pitching all that well. This matchup definitely favors the pitcher. 2-0 count. The pitch. Little dinker. Second comes in, fields it, has no play. Roy Campanella not fleet of foot by any stretch, but able to beat that play as Jackie Robinson charged the ball and did not have a throw. Bases jacked now. Hammerheads with visions of really blowing this game wide open right now. But to do so, they're going to need a big hit from an unlikely source, that being Ozzie Smith. His triple slash line versus right-hand pitching is 235, 294, 310 for an ugly OPS just over the 600 mark. He's worked a 2-2 count here and is looking for a little splashdown. The pitch. Grounder to third and through! 1 run will score. Here comes another run. He'll score. Ozzie on his way to second. He's on his way to third. Everyone is in a state of shock. They can't believe Ozzie Smith was able to find the third baseline, and the shortstop, Mark Belanger, fields the relay throw and holds it. Campanella scores. Smith goes to third, and that's a 3-run double by Ozzie Smith. 3-run double, or he ends up at third base. Make it 6-1 Hammerheads. Now it's 7-1. And we go to the bottom of the fifth. Time for the Comets to battle back. Ty Cobb will be the first man they send up to do so. Full count, the pitch, and that ball's hit well. Deep right center. This ball's got a chance. Gone. Ty Cobb makes it 7-2. Top 7 now, and look at the jam Mo finds himself in here. Mariano Rivera, one of the game's very best pitchers, has found himself in the unenviable spot of having the bases loaded and facing one of the best hitters in the game in Rogers Hornsby. What is already a 5-run deficit can really explode here if Hornsby's able to come through. The pitch. Hornsby loops it to left center and down. 1 run will score. Here comes Campanella. He will score. Make it 9-2 Hammerheads, as they are really putting some distance between them and the Coretown Comets today. Bottom 8 Comets staring at a 7-run deficit and needing some base runners. They'll start with Cap Anson as he gets into one. Deep right field. It's taco time for Cap. Home crowd won't celebrate too much, as they're still staring at a 6-run deficit. But 366 happy feet off the bat of Cap Anson makes it 9-3. Next batter of consequence is Rogers Hornsby, still facing Tom Siever. Siever was the Ottawa Hammerheads starter I have to wonder how much longer he is for this game here, as he's yielded 3 runs, 8 hits, and is still in this game in the 8th inning. Full count on Hornsby, the pitch. Little looper, left center and down. Gwynn had to hold to make sure it goes through, so he'll have to stop at second. But the Comets are starting to threaten here late in Game 4. Bottom 8, and we do see relief appearance come in here for the Hammerheads. They turn to Chris Sale, and they're turning to Chris Sale to take on Tris Speaker. Tris Speaker, one of the better hitters in this game, but definitely nullified by same-side pitchers like Chris Sale. And we'll show you this matchup here. Chris Sale with a versus left FIP under 3 at 2.73. His K per 9 versus lefties is 11.9. And we see Speaker struggles versus left-hand pitching. Could be just what the doctor ordered for the Hammerheads, as they'd love to see a twin killing here. Tough guy to double up, though. Grounder to second one. They'll hold it there. Fielder's choice erases the runner at second, and now 1 away in the inning. Looks like the Coretown Comets able to pick up another run there in the 8th as we go bottom 9. And Chris Sale still in the game as we're looking at the final opportunity for the Comets here. Comets had visions of getting the 4-game sweep, and that's not going to happen unless we see a heroic comeback here in the bottom of the 9th. I'll go ahead and toggle to Chris Sale's split versus right. That's really the downside of Sale. His FIP jumps over 5. The home run avoidance really struggling versus right in our sample size here of 2,200 innings. He faces Anson here. 1-1 count, 2 away the pitch. Little looper, center field. In comes Fire Mays, and he makes the grab. The Hammerheads have won Game 4. They face the tall task of winning 4 straight. And you can't win 4 straight without winning the first one. And that's what they've done here tonight. They come into Coretown Stadium, pick up Game 4 victory, and now face a 3-1 deficit in the series. Let's look at the box score. Similar to all 3 previous games in this series, we have Carlton serving as the opener for Coretown. Walter Johnson coming in after. Now, there's the debate between whether this was a use of opener-follower mechanic or a true pseudo start, given that the lineup that we saw here featured 7 righties. I think that's triggering the V left lineup. So that would be a true pseudo start, but don't quote me on that. So Carlton comes in for 3 batters, gives up hits to 2 of them. Walter Johnson came in and just didn't have it. So Walter Johnson, we saw that he did not get the stuff boost, so perhaps that answers some of the prior question. But he came in for 4 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 strikeouts. And from there, it was all too little too late. But we saw Chris Sale give up a couple more runs, besides Price, Rivera, and Hoffman pitching well. Now, the thing to note here is we did see Rivera throw 35 pitches. So 35 pitches in a losing effort in Game 4 means that Rivera is off the table for Game 5. So if Coretown is coming down trying to protect a 1-run lead, Rivera is not going to be someone who can be in that game in all likelihood. Yeah, we see his rest status down at 18% for this upcoming sim. On the other side, for Ottawa, we see Siever with a pretty strong performance. I mean, 7 innings pitched, 4 earned is nothing to call home about, including scattering 11 base runners over those 7 innings and giving up 2 home runs. But in the context of this game where he was working with a very big lead for much of it, and many of those runs came late, certainly an admirable performance before handing it over to Chris Sale in that tight spot in the 8th inning, and Sale going ahead and getting out Tris Speaker and then finishing out the game. The stage is set as we go to Game 5. Coretown has to win this one, or else they have to go back on the road. As we know, Coretown struggled on the road this year, losing more games than they won. So they have to absolutely want to get this one here at home and not have to go on the road, where not only did they struggle, but the Ottawa Hammerheads won 64% of their home games. That was a strength for them. So let's try to load up this sim. Sim is in. Sim is in, and that's a pretty quick sim. We had been on a streak of 5-game World Series dating back, I want to say, the last 3 weeks. And if this quick sim is any indication, we could be heading for a 6th game. So we'll get started. We have Pedro Martinez on the mound for the Coretown Comets. And we've got the lineup that includes 2 lefties, which is the Ottawa Hammerheads versus right stock lineup, or at least appears to be. And we'll start this game with Ty Cobb. He's going to walk him. Not how you want to start Game 5. Let me update our score bug while I'm thinking about it. We'll put in Ottawa there, as Hammerheads is definitely not going to fit. But Cobb walks to lead off the game. Jackie follows suit. And now all of a sudden, you've got the Ottawa Hammerheads in business with Hornsby at the plate. In this righty cheese park, the pitch. That ball lined to short. To second, one, first, double play. Just what the doctor ordered for Pedro Martinez here in the first. Gets himself into a 2-on, none-out jam and is able to get the double play. Now all that separates him from escaping this jam is retiring Willie Mays with 2 on and 2 out. The pitch. Fly ball deep center. Tracking is a center fielder. Not gonna get there. That ball's out of here. Willie Mays goes 423 feet, which gives the Ottawa Hammerheads an early 3-0 lead. And out come the Boo Birds. Bottom 1. Time for the Coretown Comets to earn their way back into the home fans' hearts. And they'll start it with Ty Cobb versus Roger Clements. The pitch. Cobb gets into one. Way back. Back. Gone. Almost out of the second deck. Look where that ball landed. That's about 4 rows from the scoreboard. Let's get some fireworks for that one, Ty Cobb. Holy cow. Jefferson Jim pointing out something that I should have last inning, that the Mays home run was hit by Mays, but not just any Mays, Fire Mays. And this home run hit by Ty Cobb. We go bottom 3, Belanger to the plate. Now, why on earth would they be showing me a Mark Belanger highlight? We all know Mark Belanger can't hit. Especially can't hit versus right-hand pitching. 0-1 count, the pitch. Belanger gets into one. Deep left center. That ball's gone. Mark Belanger, he of the 450 Perfect League OPS, cuts the lead in half. Top 4. Let's give Mark Belanger some fireworks. Let's give him some cheers, too. I don't know that I'll ever see that again. When is the next time Mark Belanger is going to hit a home run in the Perfect League World Series? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Mark Belanger, 228 slugging percentage versus right. How is that even possible? As you look at the delta between his batting average and his slugging, that tells you that he's not hitting that many extra base hits. Incredible. Well, as the Coretown faithful are coming down off the high that was the Belanger bomb, they've got themselves into some more trouble. They've given up a run, and the Hammerheads are now batting with Ty Cobb at the dish and 2 away. We already know that Ty Cobb's hit Pedro Martinez already in this game. The pitch. Little looper, right field and over the second baseman's head. Around third is Gwynn. He's going to try to score. Throws not in time. Make it 5-2 Ottawa. Bottom 4 time. Up comes Willie Mays. This is starting to take on the resemblance of a high-scoring affair, as we're getting a number of highlights early in this one. Let's go ahead and pull up Roger Clements, as we haven't seen him yet in this series. Here's Roger Clements versus right. We'll also give you a Willie Mays versus right. Clements versus his strong side comes out to be about a league average pitcher. As we toggle to his versus left, you see it doesn't get that much uglier. That was one of the things that Kidneys and I remarked on our Thursday stream, where we talk about the quality of the cards, is that Clements had a very unique profile versus left, unique for right-handed pitchers. Uniquely strong. So we weren't expecting him to have the wildest splits. The thing that I didn't love about him is that on his strong side, his versus right side, he's only going to be about league average, which is what we see here. 1-0 count to Mays here in the 4th. Coretown trying to get back in this one, and Mays gets into one deep to left. Wrap it around the foul pole. More fireworks for Coretown. The Coretown, we only hit bombs, comets. We had Ty Cobb going 700 feet to right center. Belanger going 500 plus to left center. And now Mays wrapping this one into the 3rd deck down the line. 5-3, and Tony Gwynn representing the tying run at the plate now. Three-one count. He's got Anson in scoring position here. The pitch. He walked him. Walks Gwynn to bring up Hornsby. Big moment in this game. Ottawa built a big lead, and now that lead being severely threatened in the form of Rogers Hornsby. 2-1 count on him. The pitch. Little grounder up the middle. Tough play. Fielded at second over to first. In time. Jackie Robinson scoops it and fires and retires a not too slow base runner in Rogers Hornsby to end the threat. We go bottom 6 and Coretown right back at it. Roger Clements will face Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson, special edition to the plate. Tough guy to double up. He's got Hank Aaron on at first. 1 away. The pitch. Little looper, right field, base hit. Aaron gets the second, will stop there. 2 on and 1 away. That brings up Joe Mauer. This game getting very tight as we're starting to get to the second half of it. Mauer to the plate. Pretty even matchup here between hitter and pitcher. The pitch. That ball grounded to second one. First double play. And the Hammerheads work their way out of a jam in the second, courtesy of a twin killing off the bat of power Joe Mauer. Bottom 7. Another highlight for the Coretown Comets. This one coming courtesy of Mark Belanger. We just got to load up the Belanger graphic just in case. Just in case we get a little bit more boom boom magic off this Belanger bat. Boom boom Belanger, we'll call him. One and the pitch. Belanger loops it into left field, making his presence felt here in Game 5. Leadoff runner for Belanger. Ty Cobb, next guy up. Full count on him, the pitch. Ball 4. Coretown Comets now mounting a major threat here in the 7th. How much longer will the Hammerheads stick with Roger Clements as this game and this series is hanging in the balance? Up comes Ken Griffey Jr., representing the go-ahead run for the Comets. If you look at Griffey's stats, the one thing that stands out for him is that slugging percentage. 443 mark inflates that OPS of 739, and really is a scary bat to be facing right now if you're an Ottawa Hammerhead fan. 2-2 count on Griffey. The pitch. Up the middle. Fielded it short. Takes it to the bag himself, and on to first double play. Huge double play by Ozzie Smith. Touches the bag himself. They were playing the shift with Griffey at the dish. And a huge double play. Up comes Tony Gwynn. With 2 away, he is the Comets' last chance to keep this rally going. Full count. Advantage to the hitter. Little grounder to short. Ozzie fields that one across and over. Threat over in the 7th. Hammerheads maintain their 2-run lead. We go top 8. Hammerheads looking to add to it. For the first time, we have Trevor Hoffman into this game. Into this series. Hank Aaron, we know he's a deadly hitter versus left. Here he is versus right. 1-1 count on Hank. Line and the pitch. Lines it down the left field line. It's going all the way to the wall. Hank will end up on second with a stand-up double. Hammerheads thinking about insurance runs here in the 8th. Next batter up is Willie Mays. Advantage to the pitcher here in this matchup. 1-1 count. Although it's Fire Mays, and Fire Mays comes through again. Laces a single to center. Hank Aaron will hold at third. Now up, Tony Gwynn. The pitch. Gwynn grounds it up the middle. Diving stop at short. Over to first in time to get Gwynn. Unable to get the lead runner at second, and a run does come across, making it 6-3 Hammerheads. Next up, Jackie Robinson here in the 9th. Little looper, base hit right field. Trying for third and making it will be Ty Cobb as he takes the extra base. Make it 7-3 Hammerheads, and now we're facing Coretown Comets in the bottom of the 9th. The last hope before we push this series back to Ottawa is Ty Cobb. Chasing 4 runs with Belanger. Look at that. Mark Belanger's on first. This was the Belanger game. This will forever be remembered as the Belanger game. And yet it looks to be in a losing effort. 1-2 count on Cobb. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. The Hammerheads have done the improbable. Stolen game 4. Stolen game 5. And now push this back to their home park as they continue towards step 3 in the 4-step plan to reverse sweep the Coretown Comets. Let's go to the box. So for the first time this series, we see Coretown not employing opener-follower and just going with a straight start of Pedro Martinez. Pedro was rocking into a lineup with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 righties, but still struggled. Didn't struggle with the long ball necessarily, only 1 home run allowed. It was to Fire Mays. But he gave up 7 hits and 3 walks, so 10 base runners in 6 innings. Not Pedro's best effort. 5 earned runs. Hoffman came in and poured a little gasoline on the fire, letting up 7 base runners in 2 innings. On the other side, you saw Roger Clements. Roger Clements dodging raindrops over there as he gives up 11 base runners through 7, but only 3 of them coming across, and those 3 that came across were all home runs. Belanger, what was it, Gwynn? Who are our homers? It was Cobb, Belanger, and Mays for Coretown. What a series that we've seen so far. Let's update our score bug as Ottawa has pushed us through the off day. Yeah, we'll always remember this as the Mark Belanger game. 3 for 4. A 6 bases day out of him. Now with 2 home runs in the postseason. We are 12 minutes from our Game 6 sim. And if this game happens to go to the Hammerheads, then we will be headed towards a Game 7 that I have never seen, that I've never broadcast. The reverse sweep potential Game 7. Yeah, Doom 60-135 asking if Belanger is a card that gets used much in higher leagues. Belanger is a newer card, and what makes him an interesting card is not his batting profile. Look at this batting profile. You see this and you think that this is a gold card. Maybe it's a silver card. But what makes this a diamond card is the fact that he's bringing more infield range, which is the most important of the defensive metrics, of the defensive ratings. He's bringing more infield range than any other card within the Perfect Team universe. And you see that baked into his 133 position rating at shortstop. He's not going to hit. Look at this triple slash line. You might throw up. But he is going to pick it at short. And after postseason adjustment, you see that Coretown got a 7.4 WAR season out of Mark Belanger last week. All right, 11 minutes to the sim. A couple things I want to talk about during our break here. So one, we look at the matchup. I don't know if we're getting Pedro v. Pedro. I feel like we already saw a Pedro recently. Let's look at the rest. Now let me load up the new sim, and then we'll look at the rest. So we'll go on BRB. We'll load up day 221 of the season. What a series. Holy cow. Holy cow. Start 3-0, and we're all the way back at 3-2. Looking at a spicy Game 6. What does Belanger have on deck for an encore? Sim taking a long time to load. All right, let's see if this looks good. Yep, it looks good. So the off-day sim is in. And let's look at what we have from a rest perspective. So advertised starters, Coretown, Maddox, face of the franchise, Ottawa advertising Pedro. Let's take a look at each team to see who's in play. So Coretown, the only guy who can actually start is Glavin. I think once you go over the 70% mark, you might be able to force it. Jay Millay would be able to confirm or deny that. But the only guy who's actually a rested starter, that his starting pitcher stamina is going to be 100, is going to be Glavin. I'm just checking some of these other guys. Yep, so I feel pretty confident that we'll see Glavin as the first guy out for Coretown. Now, earlier in this series, 4 days ago, we saw Glavin start a game, go 1 inning, and then be relieved. So I'm not saying that it's a guarantee that Glavin's going to be going long in this one. As far as people that can follow him, there's not a ton of rested arms. Shane Bieber is the most rested righty arm. So it'll be interesting to see what Marksman does here with this set of cards in his hand. He's got a fully rested Glavin and really only Bieber as far as someone who can go the distance from a right-handed pitching perspective. Let's look on the other side. Let's go to Ottawa. So we've got Pedro listed as the only member of the starting rotation. In addition to Pedro, we've got a whole cavalcade of fully rested arms, including Spawn, Carlton, Feller, Price, Rivera. In the bullpen, ready to go. We've got Sale and Hoffman, right around 80% pitch fatigue. They can certainly be put into a game. Maybe you wouldn't prefer it. And then Maddox at 95% ready to go. API sharing that you can force them to start with 7-day no matter how tired they are. Interesting. I thought if they were below 70, then the game engine would override it to not allow you to do that, but I guess I'm off base. All right, so 7 minutes to the sim. One thing that I wanted to talk about tonight is there is a new community challenge out there that Walnut has shared with the Discord called Walnut Up or Shut Up, or some variant of that, where the DLL is welcoming people to play within the league. And if you win the DLL, then you get a trophy. And if you get relegated, then there's some sort of Discord icon shame being applied. But if you want the opportunity to play within the DLL, which many argue could be the toughest Diamond League running, DM Walnut, get the details from him. I think he DM'd me the details. So it's not intended for anybody's alt team. If you win, you get a trophy. If you get relegated, you got to change your Discord avatar for a week. Send him a message with your team name, league number, and username would be the request. And then Walnut will let you know where it goes from there. But definitely something worth checking out. To my knowledge, no non-DLLer has ever won the DLL League since its formation. And there have been some really, really good teams that have tried. So check that out if you're up for a challenge. If you want something to spice up this coming week to find yourself in a really difficult league with some really high-level play, some really tough teams, DM Walnut. Learn more about that and see if that's something that might fit you. Arts Lab 78 asking what the DLL is. So the DLL is a friends list group that all play together within a Diamond League. So if you're unfamiliar, you can use the friends list feature of Out of the Park Perfect Team to align with your the people on it. And so that league has 20 to 25, depending on the week, of familiar faces that get together, and then there's randos that are linked in a given week. So what this is an opportunity to go and really opt into that, become part of that friends list, intentionally choose to play in that league, and then if you're able to win, then Walnut's got a special trophy for you. All right, 4 minutes to the sim. Max Fire's alt stayed in the DLL. Good work. Yeah, the DLL is a tough league, I can attest. I have been in there since leaving Perfect League and haven't been able to find my way back. I made it to the DLL World Series against T-Chuck maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, lost in 6. Just last week, I was in the conference round, the League Championship Series round, lost in 7 to Snowball. But this week, not only did I not make the playoffs, but I did not even go 500. I think I won 78 games this week. So it's a tough league, but it's a ton of fun. DLL had 3 teams make the playoffs in perfect this week. You had the Trash Pandas at the top of your bracket here. You had the Cheese, 2-time Perfect League champion. And then you had Emmett's Maulers. And Emmett's Maulers found themselves on the wrong end of a reverse sweep in round 1, whereas Chuck's Trash Pandas found themselves on the right end of a reverse sweep in round 1. So 2 minutes till the sim. Again, we're still in long sim territory. So we've looked at our pitching matchups. We'll see if, as API pointed out within the chat, we'll see if we do have Coretown forcing the Greg Maddox start at 70% pitch fatigue, or if we get Glavin. While we're waiting for that, we can go back to our top PEL hitters and answer any questions that people might have. Let's take a look at catchers. So here are the bat values from the catchers within Perfect League. We've got a really strong performance from the new Ted Simmons card. Let's see how that breaks down from a triple slash perspective. The only catcher with a combined OPS over 700. Triple slashing at 251, 305, 412. I don't have the Ted Simmons card, and I'm not familiar how the defense compares to what Mauer brings. Mauer is weaker than Campanella and Pudge significantly from a defensive perspective, but what Mauer touts is the ability to hit right-hand pitching, which neither Campanella nor Pudge can do, but it looks like Simmons is a pretty competitive bat here. Let's see if we go just for a VR. So Ted Simmons here actually with a positive bat value versus right. And again, this sample here, 658 plate appearances, not enough. I really want to see 2, 3, 4, 5, 10,000 here before I feel really great about it. But 658 plate appearances is not nothing. And we have 658 plate appearances that say that Ted Simmons is bringing some unique slugging capability to the position, as well as the best batting average versus right-handed pitching. Maxfire doubting the ability for Ted Simmons to keep up this production. The other thing that you make yourself vulnerable to when you have small samples is that Ted Simmons could have been hitting in, say, for example, a completely juiced park. Maybe someone who had this Ted Simmons, because this is probably just 1 or 2 copies, probably 2 copies, could have been a totally juiced park. So it's a sample that is absolutely skewed by the park factors with which the card was played in. So Dogberry questioning how Campy is worse than Pudge. Small sample size. It's 4,000 plate appearances for Campy and 3,000 for Pudge. As you get into it, neither one of them is all that good. It just seems that in this sample size, Pudge ran into some more balls from a slugging perspective and hit for a higher average. And this is versus right. I should have something within this box here, and I'll add that for next week that explains what split I'm on. If I do the complete split, then you see Campanella come to life and jump up above Pudge. Marksman asking how Simmons did versus left. Let's take a look. Looks like we lose him due to sample size there. So I'll look that up after the stream and then DM you. All right, we should be getting a sim here in 1 minute. If it comes back quick, then we likely know what that means. And it means we might be heading to a Game 7. Blind it out, and then we'll go try to pull it down. C-Fed saying that he just runs Pudge for the defense call of the day. Sim is in. Sim is in. Let's get to work and see what happened here in Game 6. We are starting this game, and we're back in the Rogers Center. We've got Pedro on the hill for the Ottawa Hammerheads, and he's going to start off this game versus Ty Cobb. 1-0 count. What a beautiful stadium. A beautiful day for baseball. The pitch. Little looper right field and down. Trapped by the right fielder, Tony Gwynn, and Ty Cobb is aboard to start this game. Up next is Wade Boggs. As you see that Pedro Martinez is going to have to traverse a lineup with 7 lefties in it. Boggs now bats 2-2 count. The pitch. Little looper up the middle, base hit. Around second is Cobb. He's going to try for third, and here's the throw. Not in time. First 2 batters reach versus Pedro, and the Coretown Comets are starting this game off with a bang. It's time to get the matchup analyzer involved here. Need to get it heated up. Advantage to the batter here as Coretown looks to take an early lead. 1-1 count. The pitch. Little looper left field. Base hit. First 3 batters have reached via the hit. 3 singles, and Coretown finds himself up 1-0. Make it 2-0 as Speaker adds what appears to be a double. And then up comes Rogers Hornsby looking for more here in the first. Still nobody out. The pitch. Lines it down the right field line. That's going all the way to the wall. 2 RBI double for Rogers Hornsby. 4 batters have crossed the plate, and Pedro hasn't found an out yet. Still in the top of the first, Pop Lloyd looking to put the capper on this rally. The pitch. Driven deep right field. He did it! Pop Lloyd plays long ball. Make it 6-0 Coretown. Look at this. We go bottom 2. We haven't just fast forwarded an inning and a half, but we've put 3 runs on the board for the Hammerheads. That is very odd for 3 runs to jump on the board outside the highlight engine. Could suggest that we are in for quite the high-scoring affair here. Spawn on the mound, pitching to Rogers Hornsby. Lines that one down the right field line into the corner. Hornsby's got extra bases. Around third and scoring is Jackie Robinson. Hornsby will hold at second, make it 6-4. 10 runs on the board, and we're not even through 2. Bottom 4. Hammerheads looking for more. Still chasing 2 runs with Spawn facing Jackie Robinson. 0-1 count. The pitch. Jackie lines it up the middle. Around third and trying to score is Cobb. Here comes the throw. Oh, no! The catcher drops it. Jackie ends up at second. Cobb ends up scoring. Error given to Griffey on the throw. That ball was in time, but unable to be handled by Joe Mauer at the plate. Make it 6-5. Up comes Rogers Hornsby, an opportunity to catch up the huge deficit that was created early. He faces Spawn with one. Oh, and he drives that one deep left field! Off the top of the wall! Jackie's going to score. Hornsby sliding into second, and you know what, folks? We've got a brand new ball game. 6-6. We go to the 5th. It's Coretown's turn. In comes Bob Feller. We're going to get a lot of bullpen work in this game here with how struggling the pitchers are. Let's pull up Bob Feller versus left and Ken Griffey versus right. The problem with Feller versus left-handed batters is his inability to find the strike zone. You see that he's got a 6.8 walks per 9 versus left-handed batters, which is well over double the perfect league average. He faces Griffey here with a full count, and Henderson on second. The pitch. He walked him. It's going to bring up Mauer. An arguably even better bat versus right. One, 2 count. The pitch. Strike 3 called. Feller does what Feller does. He walks guys, he strikes guys out, and able to get out of that jam in the top of the 5th. We go bottom 5. Ottawa, in this elimination game, goes down huge early, works their way back, and now finds themselves in position to take the lead here in the 5th inning. The pitch. Line up the middle. Base hit. Gets under the glove of a diving Mark Belanger. 115 range, just not enough there. Needed 116. And that puts the Hammerheads in the captain's chair for the first time today. Up comes Pop Lloyd. Now, Pop Lloyd's already gone yard tonight. He's already used a year's worth of luck. What could he have in store here to start the 6th? The pitch. He walks him. Pop Lloyd, a good base runner, not a good base stealer, but a good base runner. And that's going to bring up Mark Belanger. And we'll go ahead and toggle to Bob Feller's split versus right. And we'll show you Mark Belanger versus right as well. 1-0 count. First a pickoff throw. 1-0 count on Belanger. Another pickoff throw. Runner back. Full count now. And we've got a pitcher change. So Bob Feller leaves the game after a pickoff throw and gives way to Walter Johnson. Let's pull up Walter Johnson, the reliever. Heavy advantage here to the pitcher, but he's working on a full count. The pitch. Swing! And a miss. Strike 3. 1 away here in the 6th. 2 outs now. And Wade Boggs into the batter's box. Boggs, one of the best hitters in the game versus right. Really stands out for his very high ability to get on base. That .373 on base percentage. One of the highest marks in the game. 3-1 count on him in the pitch. He walked him. Boggs works the walk, which is going to bring up Tony Gwynn. Whereas Wade Boggs has that notably high on base percentage, Tony Gwynn has an elite level batting average, .311 versus right, and he needs a base hit here to tie up this ball game. The pitch. Lines that one down the left field line. Pop Lloyd around third. He will score. Heading to third is Boggs. He'll stop there. The Coretown Comets tie it in the 6th. And they're not done yet. Up comes Tris Speaker. One of the best cards in this game from early on in the game cycle. Has an opportunity to give Coretown the lead in an elimination game. Full count on him. The pitch. Swing! And a miss. Strike 3. Walter Johnson uses every bit of that stuff boost to get out of trouble here in the 6th. Bottom 6 now. Hammerheads looking to strike back, looking to get that lead that they worked so hard for, right back in their rightful hands. 1-0 count, 1 away as Jackie steps in. He gets into one. That ball's gone. Jackie Robinson, opposite field home run. Fireworks and cheers. Big booms here in Ottawa. 407 happy feet for the Ottawa Hammerhead fans. Hammerhead Nation now has the lead as we go to the 8th. This game is being handed over to the trusty hands of David Price. David Price, just about the best pitcher versus left-handed batters in this game. And he's going to start with a wild advantage at bat here versus Pop Lloyd as he's looking to protect that 1-run Ottawa Hammerhead lead. 0-1 count on Lloyd. The pitch. Little looper to short. Long throw. Not it. Did he get him? He got him. A bang play at first, and Pop Lloyd is out. Ozzie Smith ranged deep into the hole between short and third and able to throw out the speedy Pop Lloyd to start off this 8th inning. Ty Cobb time. Advantage to the pitcher here. 2-0 count on him. Wind and the pitch. Little grounder to first. Fields it, takes it himself. And the Ottawa Hammerheads will have the lead into the 9th inning. And that's where we find ourselves now. The 9th inning will be trusted to Mariano Rivera, who we saw in our setup of this World Series. We saw just how dominant a season Mariano Rivera had. An ERA sub 2, picking up 45 saves. Mariano Rivera will work against Wade Boggs. Advantage to the batter here. Coretown looking for a leadoff runner on. If they've got Ricky on their bench, and I can't recall if they do. But I'd bet the first thing we'd see is Ricky Henderson run for Wade Boggs if he's able to reach. 0-2 count. Wind in the pitch. Strike 3 called. Huge strikeout for the Ottawa Hammerheads as they get the leadoff guy here in the 9th. Next batter up, Tony Gwynn. And Tony Gwynn's found himself in a 3-0 advantage here with 1 away in the 9th. The pitch. He walked him. Leadoff runner aboard for the Comets as Triss steps into the box. The pitch. Little looper, left field, and down! Gwynn will hold at second. 2 on and 1 out in a 9th inning that just became extremely spicy. Up comes Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson will get our matchup analyzer right. Advantage goes to the pitcher here. Now, Jackie is a very tough guy to double up. If you're the Hammerheads, you're looking for some quick turn double play to get you out of here and on to Game 7. If you're the Comets, you're looking for a little right-hand batter on right-hand pitcher connection here that can find a little grass out there in the left center field gap to score a couple. For the Coretown Comets, you have 2 good base runners aboard in Gwynn and Speaker. Speaker being slightly stronger. If this one does split a gap, there's a very good chance we've got a new leader in this ball game. 2-2 count. Rivera comes set and delivers. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 2 away. And this game comes down to Ken Griffey Jr. Griffey Jr.'s got lightning in his bat, as evidenced by the observed slugging percentage you see here. A 2-2 count. Game 6 on the line. Tying run in scoring position. Go ahead run on first. 2-2 count. It all comes down to this. Crowd on their feet. Looking for 1 strike to send this series to the most unlikely of unlikely Game 7s. Can Rivera get the strike? 2-2 count, the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. This series goes to 7. Fireworks set off in the Rogers Center. Interpretive dance routine done, and the Hammerheads will focus now on coming up with a game plan to win Game 7. Now, the simming for Game 7 started 1 minute ago. It is unlikely to complete for another 15 minutes or so. An unbelievable turn of events. Let's see how it all went down as we quiet those unruly Ottawa fans screaming their heads off. You can't control them. Hey, go away, Ottawa, chill out. That's enough out of you. Unbelievable series. Let's see what happened. Okay. So, Ottawa's facing elimination. They're down 3-2 in the series, and they say, you know what? Pedro's got this. I'm throwing out my best pitcher. I'm going to win Game 6 and go to Game 7 and see what happens. And then what happened? Pedro gives up 6 earned runs in the first inning. only able to retire 2 batters. You're Ottawa. You placed all your faith in your best pitcher, and he just got shelled. On comes Hoffman, puts out the fire, gets you a couple innings. On comes Carlton, gets you out of a troublesome third. Then Feller, even though he likes to walk everyone, only gives up 1 run. Walter Johnson, Price, and Rivera stack up 4 innings of scoreless ball. And then the team got to work. The bats got to work. So we see Mariano Rivera was the chosen starter for Coretown. So even though he was not at 100% start stamina, he was able to be deployed as he was on 3 days rest of 35. So he goes out there for 3 batters, and then on comes Spawn. And Spawn was looking at a lineup with 2 lefties. So tough lineup for Spawn to be pitching into, and he got crushed. 11 base runners in 5 innings and 6 earned runs. Following on the heels of Mariano Rivera getting into a lot of trouble in that first. And the stage has been set. Stage has been set for Game 7. Let's take a look at our pitcher rest to see what we can expect from each team. We'll start with Coretown. Who is available? Now, we remarked in the beginning of this series just how few arms Coretown had. Only 9 pitchers, is it? Is it 10? Yeah, it's 10. I could have swore it was just 9 when we took our first look at it. But only 10 pitchers on staff. And going into this game, we've got Glavin, Carlton, and Sale all fully rested. So only lefties rested for this one. We've got Mariano at 74, who can and will pitch, but no guarantee he's going to pitch that well when he's coming in tired. You've got Hoffman at 65, can and will pitch. No guarantee he'll be good or effective. So Coretown's bullpen is really taxed. Coretown is going to have to throw a lot of left-handed innings this game, which means that Tech, the Ottawa Hammerheads, are going to have an opportunity to have a lot of right-handed batters facing left-handed pitchers. Those right-handed batters are going to get a lot of favorable matchups. If I had to guess, I'd guess that we see Glavin as the arm tapped to take on the majority of those innings. But we'll just have to see how it plays out. Let's go check out the Ottawa bullpen. More taxed than we've seen it at any other point in this series. But he's walking into this game with a full stamina face of the franchise Maddox and a full stamina Warren Spawn. And he's going to complement that with Chris Sale, Carlton, and then a mostly rested Mariano Rivera. From there, everyone else, you probably don't want to see them. Too tired, too risky. Too risky. So I think what we'll likely see from Ottawa is Warren Spawn do as he did for a majority of this season. Be relied on for a lot of innings. We know in Game 1 of this season, or of this series, Warren Spawn pitched a complete game. Only gave up 1 earned run. Did find himself on the losing end as the losing pitcher, but was absolutely dominant. And I think we see Tech give him an opportunity to do that again. What a World Series. What a World Series indeed. This will be the final sim. And I'm not expecting it to quite be ready yet. So what do you guys think? Who's taking this winner-take-all Game 7? Do we have Tech 15 getting his first Perfect League World Series? Getting the first reverse sweep Perfect League World Series that I've observed? Could happen before I was looking at it, before I was broadcasting it. But I don't recall ever seeing or hearing about a perfect league World Series that went the way of a reverse sweep? Or do we have Coretown? Do we have Coretown finding a way? Yeah, their bullpen shot. Yeah, they've only really got lefties to throw in this game. But do they find a way? Does one of those lefties, does Tom Glavine play a little hero ball? Put the team on its back. Put together 7 strong innings. And then team up with Carlton and Price, or Carlton and Sale to finish off this game. Thank you for the reminder, Hubert Farnsworth IV. As we do need to update our graphic. And this graphic is going to have some delightful symmetry to it. I might just screen cap that and save it. I'm sure it's not Coretown's favorite visual, but there's just something aesthetically pleasing about seeing the first 3 games going to one team and the next 3 going to the other and setting up a Game 7 winner take all. Jefferson Jim says the Hammerheads got it. Hero Driver has Ottawa. Sussman just got Tech 15. Tohan rooting for Ottawa. Everyone loves a Game 7. And ain't that the truth? What an amazing series. What an amazing way to cap another great week of Perfect Team. Somebody DM me when the sim comes in so I can pull it down right away. And no spoilers in the chat. Please, 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 please. No spoilers in the chat. Whew, I've got some goosebumps right now. I'm ready for this one. Comets, Hammerheads, Game 7, winner take all. 2 very worthy and deserving potential champions, and one of them is going to get the beautiful plastic Perfect League World Series trophy. And we are, and to Big Red 75's point, we are keeping Dishnet up extra late. Perfect Team prep. We'll just have to hold on until we settle this wild World Series here tonight. 2 great seasons do end here. Is it the Coretown Comets, who had a good regular season capped by a great postseason run? Is it Tech 15, who had a great regular season, 93 wins, and then has more or less been unchallenged in this playoff tree up until Coretown punched him in the mouth 3 times to start off this series? And what a response by the team to work back. You know, let's do an MVP check. It's time to pick our MVPs. So you've got all the stats up on your screen for both teams. Who is going to be your MVP? So basically, you need to pick who's going to win and then find the player most deserving there. All I want is a high drama Game 7, and gosh darn it, give me a walk-off. Maybe that makes me partisan because that makes me rooting for the home team. Give me a late game deciding hit. Marksman rooting for Belanger. Belanger at 136 for the series, but that 136 does include a 3-hit ball game. In looking at some of these other worthy candidates here, we see that Coretown's Ty Cobb has had quite the series, OPSing over 1. His Tony Gwynn's been solid as well, right around 1 with the OPS. From a pitching perspective, Coretown's Pedro has been dominant. 14 innings with a 3 ERA, but he does have a loss. So it's not like he's won a couple of games. So it feels like Cobb, depending on what happens in this game, Cobb's got a couple homers, only 2 ribbies. I'm guessing he's scored a good number of runs. But Cobb's got a good argument, as does Gwynn, depending on what happens in this game. And then for Ottawa, his Cobb's been pretty unconscious as well, although only 15 plate appearances. Maybe Jackie. Maybe this is the rebirth of the Fire Jackie. An OPS well over 1. 9 of 21 on the series, homer and 4 ribs. And then on the pitching side, there's not really a good candidate here. Marksman saying, look at the last 3 series for MVP. Gwynn won 3 in a row. So Gwynn has the opportunity to win all 4 series MVPs for Coretown if they're able to win this game, and Gwynn is at the center of it. All right, I've just been told the sim is in. Let's load this baby up. Man, I'm excited. Who is going to win this game? Not in for me yet. Let me make sure I have the right number. This is a day 223 at 8:15. Yeah, that should be right. Yeah, let's have Mark Belanger hit 5 home runs this game. And then we can just give him the MVP and feel good about it. Yeah, I don't have the sim in yet. Oh, that was a different league that someone was DMing me about. False alarm. Ariba 21 betting on Mays as the MVP. Now he is Fire Mays. Ottawa's the Mays that has fire, right? 348, 375, 565 with the home run. Let's check who's bringing fire to this final game. Coretown, no fire, Ricky Henderson ice. From a pitching perspective, we've talked about how he's only got 3 lefties healthy. Only 3 lefties rested, I should say. But all 3 of them are bringing fire. Now, as we look at Ottawa, we've got Spawn, who's got fire. We think he's the most likely selection for starting pitcher. And then the only fire we've got on the team is A-Rod. Look at the numbers that A-Rod put up in short sample. 331, 428, 706. 16 homers and 187 plate appearances. Holy cow. Holy cow, indeed. So we're at the 15-minute mark, past when we expect to get it. Could be any minute now that it comes in. We'll try to keep the Ottawa fans at bay until then, with their fireworks setting off and loud cheering ways. Oof with a Super Baseball 2020 reference in the chat. I played the heck out of that game. I loved me some Super Baseball. The game where foul balls were extra base hits. If you hit it down the left or right field line far enough, even though it was foul, it was playable. What a crazy game that was. But nothing takes the place of Baseball Stars. Baseball Stars was my first love as it relates to baseball games. Try to beat the American dreams with whatever custom team you come up with. Baseball Stars or Riot. Snaggle's got it. Snaggle gets it. Baseball Stars was a ton of fun. I mean, what I find so interesting is that they were able to code into an 8-bit NES game so much personality. Like, you had the lovely ladies who not only were, as you'd expect, the names of female characters, but they built in like custom animation for their pitching. We're talking about an NES game, and you had like relatively complex game mechanic changes specifically put into the game for one team. I think that I want to say the Ghastly Monsters had something, or maybe that was just their color scheme that made them look like monsters, but that game is just the best. You can't beat Baseball Stars. You just can't beat it. All right, I'm going to try to pull down this sim and see if we're there yet. Man, I am happy that when I was lucky enough to win the Perfect League World Series, I didn't have to go to a Game 7 sim. First off, you have no idea what's going to happen, and it just takes forever. And I'm sure the entire time you're waiting for that sim to come in, you're thinking about the lineup you set, the pitching you set, the plan, second-guessing yourself about what you anticipated your opponent was going to do. That is a big-time stressor. $18-minute mark here. We can do some more data diving if you guys want. So let's take a look at the best hitters in the game versus right. So one thing we can talk about and have talked about in the past is the split nature of the game. So as we look at the very best hitters in the game versus right, we have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hitters until we find a righty, and it's Hornsby and then Anson. And then if we do the inverse exercise, we've got to go all the way down to Tony Gwynn. So the 9th hitter is a lefty for same side there. And then after that, you got to go even further. You got to go down to the 16th to find the next best. It's one thing we've seen. Left-handed pitchers really dominate left-handed batters in a way that right-handed pitchers don't dominate righties. And that's not too dissimilar than real life. Oh, Roger Connor. I skipped right over him. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, let's call out that resurgent season from Roger Connor. You know, many people, including myself, have started to wonder if he still sits on the mantle as the choice for your first baseman. Sim's in. All right, let's stop that conversation mid-flight and get over to this Game 7 sim because we've got to get to it. So Rascal 7666 asking how bat value is calculated. I turned it into a rate stat. So bat runs, BATR, as a category name within Out of the Park, is a metric that tries to contextualize batter performance to how many runs they're generating. I turned that into a rate stat for every 600 plate appearances. And so that's what you're seeing there. If it's a 20, it's 20 excess bat runs per 600 plate appearances. All right, let's get this show on the road here. We are starting with the Ottawa Hammerheads, Warren Spahn on the mound as we expected, and it looks like he's going to be pitching into a lineup that has 8 right-handed batters, a tall task indeed. And on the other side, we've got the Hammerheads rocking 2 lefties as well. So we know that the Comets really were short on right-handed arms, so this is a lineup configuration that's really trying to put righties out there to face those lefties. Let's get this game started with Cap Anson leading off the first. Here we go. Game 7. One and the pitch to Anson, and he hits a little dinker to short. Diving stop across to first in time. Ozzie Smith makes the diving play and throw to first to keep Anson off the bases. Let's go to the second. And we have got a rally a brewing. Willie Mays on second, Tony Gwynn on first, Jackie Robinson at the dish. Jackie has been at the center of a lot this World Series, and that will continue to be the case here as we load up Jackie Robinson, VL, and Warren Spahn. VR. Advantage goes to the hitter here, 2-2 count. Nobody out. Line in the pitch. Line up the middle, base hit. Runners had to hold. Will he try to score? He will not. Mays holds at third, and they are loaded here in the second. Spawn working into some trouble here. Now he's facing Ricky Henderson, but he's not just facing any Ricky Henderson. He's facing an icy Ricky Henderson. Working the snowflake emoticon here, and he's got the bases loaded. This is a guy you're not going to double up. The infield is playing back, trying for 2 here, or at least trying to limit the damage. You probably don't want to pull the infield in with nobody out and the bases loaded in the second inning. Let's see what happens here. The pitch. That ball hit well. Deep center field. Off the top of the wall. And the right fielder's going to play this. Ricky is racing around third. He's going to stop there. It's a bases clearing triple for Ricky Henderson. Just missed a homer. I honestly thought he might try to get it inside the Parker, but he must have been hot dogging it out of the box as he didn't even try. The Hammerheads find themselves in a deep hole here early in Game 7. Still top 3, or we now go to top 3, and we'll lead off this inning with Hank Aaron. And Hank Aaron gets into one. Back, gone. Hank Aaron leads off the third with a bomb, giving the Comets a 5-0 lead. Top 6 now, another highlight for the Comets. The Hammerheads have to be asking themselves when they get a highlight. They've spread 6 hits through 5 innings, but we haven't seen them yet. Into the game for the Hammerheads comes face of the franchise, Greg Maddox, and he'll start off this inning facing Jackie Robinson. The pitch. That ball hit well. Deep right center. Gone. Another home run. You could hear a pin drop in this stadium as Jackie goes 427 feet to right center, and the hopes of the Hammerhead faithful shrink even further. Bottom 8 now. Put up or shut up time for the Hammerheads. They're facing face of the franchise, Greg Maddox here, looking to get a little boom rally going. 1-1 count. The pitch. That ball hit well. Deep right field. Get the fireworks guy up. 385 feet. It's not over yet. Make it 6-2. A somber moment has come upon us for the Hammerhead home crowd here, as there's 2 outs in this game, and they're still chasing 4 runs. On the hill is Greg Maddox, face of the franchise, and at the dish is Ivan Rodriguez. And this is not a very good matchup if you're a Hammerhead fan. As you see, Ivan Rodriguez struggles with the bat, struggles with the on base, doesn't slug much. But he is their final hope here in Game 7. 1-1 count on him. Wind and the pitch. Little grounder to short. Across to first in time. And your Coretown Comets take a circuitous route to the 2060 Perfect League World Series. That's going to do it. We'll give them some cheer and fireworks because Canadians are nice. And the Rogers Center would celebrate anyone winning. A hard-fought World Series as they win the first 3, but had to fight tooth and nail to find that 4th victory. They finally do in Game 7. I'm dying to see the box score. How did they get through this game? And look at that. Coretown having only Maddox on the mound for the entire game, goes 91 pitches. I don't even recall what his stamina was before the game. It definitely wasn't 100%. But Maddox into the game, and Maddox put 27 up and put 27 down, only yielding 2 runs. For Ottawa, Warren Spahn got beat. Went 2 innings, giving up 5. Face of the franchise, Maddox came in relief, but too little, too late. Pedro and Sale closed out the game. Let's see who won the MVP. Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn wins the series MVP in all 4 rounds for the Coretown Comets. What a series. I'm so glad that you guys were all here with me for it. Congratulations to the Coretown Comets. As I said in the beginning, this was their 4th week in the Perfect League, their 2nd opportunity in the Perfect League playoffs, and they convert that into a World Series championship. Whereas the Ottawa Hammerheads, this was their 7th go in the playoffs. This was their 3rd World Series appearance, and they'll be left still searching for that first and elusive World Series ring. That is going to do it for me, folks. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks so much for being part of the broadcast. And we will see you next Sunday.